It's so nice to be with you, and I'm so excited. Some of you might already kind of heard some of the whispers and the goings and comings of a 33-day journey to consecrate our Archdiocese of Port of Spain here in Trinidad and Tobago to our Eucharistic Lord. And so this is an amazing opportunity for Trinidad and Tobago. And many of you are listening are not from Trinidad and Tobago or part of Heartreach. So feel free to join us in this journey and let the movement spread. Let the blessings and graces of God just flow out. And so we're going to be using Matthew Kelly, who is a popular Catholic writer. He has a book called 33 Days to Eucharistic Glory that he's recently written. And this book, he's donated thousands of these books for us here in Trinidad and Tobago. And it's really exciting because we probably will be the first diocese or archdiocese to do this kind of journey, to do 33 days together, all our parishes, all our faith communities, towards this consecration. So the question is, well, what is a consecration? We're already consecrated to the Lord in baptism. But this is, you could say, Eucharistic consecration is a deepening of our commitment to that grace given to us in a baptism. But it's a consecration is a kind of a handing over, surrender, saying, Lord, I want to be totally yours. But in this way is a consecration to the Eucharist. And so what does that mean? Well, it's a kind of a reforming of our life in view of the Eucharist. It's a reforming of our whole life to try and put Jesus in the Eucharist at the source and center of our Catholic faith. And that's what our faith says, This is the source and summit of our faith is the Holy Eucharist. This is before Jesus died. In the Last Supper, he saved the best kind of ritual for last, if you wish. It's where he said to the apostles and the disciples, do this in memory of me. But when Jesus said, do this in memory of me, he invoked the whole Jewish understanding of what memory meant. And it was in view of the Passover and what the Jews did at the Passover, which was they celebrated, you could say, a mystical Passover where that event of Exodus is invoked and is made present. And so when Jesus said, do this in memory of me, he was saying this whole mystery that I'm about, this whole Paschal mystery, these moments of my life where I'm going to suffer and die and then, well, eventually he's going to rise from the dead. This powerful life in the life of Christ is what we celebrate at Mass. And more than that, the bread and the wine are consecrated and become Jesus, the living Jesus in our midst. And this has been the Catholic and the Church belief since the Scriptures and since the early practice of the Church. We don't believe the Eucharist is a symbol. We believe that, or I should say a mere symbol. Yes, symbolic value is still part of the Eucharist because we look at bread and the Lord is teaching us something there by, how many grains of wheat come together and form one. And one of the powerful fruits of the Holy Eucharist is the unity that it makes in the Church. That when we receive the Eucharist, we're transformed into Jesus, but we're also bonded more closely together with our brothers and sisters in baptism. And so there's a real unity, a supernatural unity that is strengthened. Well, all this we'll appreciate when we meet the Lord in our moment of judgment, when we meet the Lord to go to heaven. We'll understand these mysteries of our faith in a more profound way. All right, so this consecration is an attempt to deepen that understanding, is to commit my life to the Lord and say, well, Lord, I believe you are here in the Eucharist. I believe that you are here. How can I live my life more to you? How could I come and visit you more? As a parish, how could we establish this presence of the Eucharist in a more central way to our life as a parish? All these questions. So the 33 days is very powerful because we'll be journeying with all sorts of themes that are linked to the Eucharist, and repetition gives birth to conviction. So the more we meditate on this mystery, it will go from our head to our heart. And so I'm excited. In the book of Joshua, when Joshua, the people are led out of the exile, they're wandering time, and they're in the promised land, Joshua gives these orders to the priests to bring the Ark of the Covenant, and he says, consecrate yourselves to the Lord, for tomorrow he will do wonders among you. So there's this idea of giving ourselves more definitively, in a more determined way to Jesus in the most holy Eucharist, is to do that in such a way to open up the channels of grace so that God will work his wonders in our land, amongst our nation. So how does this journey look like and how is it organized? Well, first of all, we have a one-stop shop which is on catholictt.org. catholictt.org. There it'll map out the journey, and there'll be links to upcoming videos and stuff that we're going to be doing. The main thing is that read the book. The books are going to be distributed. The free books are distributed in all our parishes. I'm sure not everybody's going to get a book, but we're going to have an audio file of each day that you could reach on catholictt.org. And then also we're encouraging, so the reading of the book, the next thing we're encouraging is that I'm going to make a daily video that is going to air on Trinity TV every day at 6 p.m, but that's also going to be on our catholictt.org website. Those videos will be sent out on Heartreach and everywhere else. Then the third thing is try thinking about gathering people in your homes. Asking people to come and join you. Let's talk about the book. Friends, family, let's talk about the book. Let's bring it up in our daily conversations at lunch and dinner. Then the next thing is that we'll have a weekly program about testimonies, about other things associated with the Eucharist on Trinity TV, and it's a half-an-hour program that's going to be uploaded on catholictt.org as well. And then lastly, the fifth pillar is the day, Consecration Day itself, which will be Feast of Corpus Christi, where all our parishes or faith communities will make a fuss to pray this prayer of consecration. And so we'll see the fruit of this. So stay tuned. God bless.